Once upon a time, on a quiet estate in the hills, a father lived with his daughters. The two eldest daughters were very pretty and very smart. The first daughter was so smart that she had memorized the entire Latin dictionary, the last 3 years of newspapers, and the most recent issue of People magazine.
Oh my gosh, no. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
The other daughter was also very smart, and she was very into politics. She was always campaigning and protesting and attending fancy balls. One day, the two daughters had a great idea, so they went to speak to their father.
Father, we hear rumors in town of a prince who wishes to be married. May we go and court him?
Of course.
May we have some horses to get there?
Yes, you've been very good daughters, and I would be glad to supply you.
And so the father grabbed his two finest steeds. And so atop their new mounts, they began on their way when the third daughter
Hey, where are you going? We're just gonna go court the prince.
Oh, can I come too?
Well, you know, one of us is gonna try and marry him, so...
Can I try too?
Okay, sure. You can try. Yeah, Sarah, all right.
The third daughter's name was Sarah, but everyone called her Simple Sarah. She was a little special.
I have some horses to go too?
Of course not.
You're not helping me at all.
Oh, that's okay. I can just use Billy, my goatar.
And so Sarah caught out her trusty goatar, which is half goat, half human, of course. And she set off to follow her sisters on her way to the castle. On the road to the castle, Sarah found something very interesting in the road.
Oh, look, a dead crow. Doesn't it look great? It's just an old dead bird. Ew.
I know it would be great to give to the prince.
Oh, gross.
The elder daughters were not really sure what a prince would do with a dead bird, but Sarah thought it would be great, so she put it in her bag and continued on her way. As they rounded the next bend, Sarah found something else interesting.
Oh, look, an old shoe. Doesn't it look great?
It's just an old throwaway shoe.
I know the prince will love it.
Of course he will, Sarah.
The shoe was smelly and dirty and old and gross. The sisters and the narrator had no idea what the prince would want with it.
Oh, look, mud.
There's mud everywhere.
I know, but this is just the most cleanest mud you've ever seen.
Okay.
The prince is gonna love this.
Okay.
I'm not sure how mud can be clean. But Sarah thought it was, so she put it in her bag and continued on her way. By now, the two eldest sisters had had quite enough of Sarah's shenanigans, and so they ran ahead to the castle, so they would get there far ahead of her. Luckily, they didn't have to ride very fast, because traveling by goatar is not the fastest thing in the world. And so we open on the castle.
No cuts, no butts, no coconuts.
The two eldest sisters arrived at the castle to find that there was already a line of suitors waiting to meet with the prince.
You guys waiting to see the prince too?
Yeah. You guys should just leave, we're gonna...
It's really not gonna matter. Really?
Excuse me? Excuse me?
were very confident that they would be able to win the prince. But by now, the prince had already dismissed over 500 potential suitors. He was a little picky. And maybe his standards were a little bit too high.
Hey,
Hi.
you, me, married tonight. Maybe next time.
Standing behind the prince were two reporters who took down every word that was said in the throne room. This was going to be great for the morning papers.
Hi, Prince.
Hi.
Hey. I'm just gonna sit here forever.
The prince really needed his personal space. This was a common mistake that some of the suitors had made. The reporters were loving it. Finally, it was the first daughter's turn to enter the throne room. But as she did, she noticed that it was very, very warm in there.
It's rather warm in here.
Yes, that's because we're cooking cock rolls for dinner tonight.
Oh,
This was not a response the daughter had expected, because who cooks in the throne room? And so, even though she had practiced her speech all day and all night, all of her words flew out of her mind, and she sat there in stunned silence. It was an awkward silence, and the prince hated awkward silences. It was the second daughter's turn, and so she entered the throne room to find it very, very warm in there.
it's very warm.
Yeah, that's because we're cooking cock rolls for dinner tonight.
This daughter, too, was also stunned by this response. Who cooks in the throne room? And she began to stutter.
Well,
Princes have no time for speech impediments. The prince was down, but suddenly, simple Sarah burst into the throne room astride her mighty gotar.
Hey, it's rather warm in here.
Oh, that's because we're cooking cock rolls for
Oh,
dinner.
can I cook this crow on it too?
Sure, but I don't have any pots and pans.
Oh, I've got the perfect container dish for it.
I don't know who cooks in a shoe, but Sarah placed the crow in the shoe.
But what about a gravy or a sauce?
Oh, I got the perfect gravy for it.
Oh,
And so Sarah took out the mud and
Yes.
used the mud as
we're on the
gravy.
stove.
And for some reason, this made perfect sense to the prince.
These are my scribes. They're taking down everything tonight. Is there anything you want to say to them so they know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. 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 I think I'm going to marry you.
And for some reason, the prince loved Sarah. They were married instantly, and they lived happily ever after. This skit is brought to you by Gotar. If you want to go far, Gotar.
This Gotar.
Get your Gotar today, for sale for only 3 easy payments of 1 million kroner, available in your local boutique. The end.